Hello guys, in this video I will discuss 100 interview related question related to SQL. So let's get started. What is DBMS? DBMS is a software which is used to maintain and manage the database. DBMS provide two important features. They are security and authorization. To communicate with DBMS, we need a language called query language. What is RDBMS? Rdbms is a type of DBMS software in which we can store the data in the form of relation or tables. If DBMS follow relational model, then it become RDBMS. If the DBMS follow EF chord rule, then it become RDBMS. What is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language and it is used to communicate with the database. This is a standard language used to perform tasks such as retrieval, updation, insertion, and deletion of data from the database. What is a database? Database is a place or medium where we can store the data in systematic and organized manner. Example, school management database, bank management database, and many more. What are tables, fields, and rows? Table is a logical organization of data which consists of rows and columns. Columns. Column name represents attributes of all entity. Column name can be called as attributes or fields or column name. Rows. Rows represents all the attributes of single entity. Rows can be called as rows, records, or tuples. A primary key. A primary key is a combination of fields which uniquely specify a row. This is special kind of unique key and it has implicit not null constraint. It means primary key values cannot be null. What is unique key? Unique key is a constraint in SQL. It is used to avoid duplicate values which are entered into the tables. What is a foreign key? Foreign key is used to establish the connection between any two tables. Characteristics of foreign key constraints are the table can have more than one foreign key may not be unique, it can be null, it is not a combination of unique and not null, it is not mandatory, a primary key of a table can only become a foreign key in another table. Foreign key is always present in child table, but it belongs to a parent table. Foreign key is also known as referential integrity constraint. What is join? Retrieval of data from multiple tables simultaneously is known as joins. What are the types of join and explain each? Types of joins are cross join or Cartesian join, inner join or Equi-Join, natural join, outer join, left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, and self join. For detailed information about joins, please do watch my playlist of SQL on joins. What is normalization? Normalization is the process of minimizing redundancy and dependency by organizing fields and tables of a database. The main aim of normalization is to add, delete, or modify field that can be made in a single table. What are all the different normalizations? There are three types of normalization: first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. For detailed information, please do watch my normalization playlist in SQL. What is a relationship and what are they? Database relationship is defined as the connection between the tables in a database. There are various databasing relationship and they are as follows: one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, many-to-one relationship, self-referencing relationship. What is a query? A database query is a code written in order to get the information back from the database. Query can be designed in such a way that it matches with our expectation of the result set. Simply, a question to the database is also known as query. What is a subquery? A subquery is a query within another query. The outer query is called as the main query and the inner query is called the subquery. Subquery is always executed first and the result of subquery is passed on to the main query. What are the types of subquery? There are two types of subquery: correlated and non-correlated. A correlated subquery cannot be considered as independent query, but it can refer the column in a table listed in the from the list of main query. A non-correlated subquery can be considered as independent query and the output of subquery are substituted in the main query. Difference between where clause and having clause. Where clause executes row by row. Having clause executes group by group. It is used to filter record in where clause, whereas in having clause, it is used to filter groups. Where clause is executed before group by clause. Having clause is executed after group by clause. Where clause can accept single row function. Having clause cannot accept single row function. Where clause cannot accept multi-row function. Having clause can accept multi-row function. Where clause cannot accept group by expression. Having clause can accept group by expression. In where clause, we can use column name or expression in where clause. We can't use column name or expression in having clause. Difference between single row function and multi-row function. It takes n number of input and generates n number of output, while multi-row function takes n number of input and generate single output. Single row function executes row by row, whereas multi-row function executes group by group. What is the difference between delete and truncate commands? Delete command is used to remove rows from the table and where clause can be used for conditional set of parameters. Commit and rollback can be performed after delete statement. Truncate removes all rows from the table. Truncate operation cannot be rolled back. What is a constraint? Constraint can be used to specify the limit on the data type of a table. Constraint can be specified while creating or altering the table statement. Sample of constraints are not null, check, unique, primary key, foreign key. What is data integrity? Data integrity defines the accuracy and consistency of data stored in a database. It can also define integrity constraint to enforce business rules on the data when it is entered into the application or database. What is data warehouse? Data warehouse is a central repository of data from multiple sources of information. Those data are consolidated, transformed, and made available for the mining and online processing. Warehouse data have a subset of data called data marts. What is a self-join? Self-join is said to be query used to compare to itself. What is a cross-join? Cross-join defines as Cartesian product where number of rows in the first table multiplied by the number of rows in the second table. What is union, minus, and intersect commands? Union operator is used to combine the result of two tables and it eliminates duplicate rows from the tables. Minus operator is used to return rows from the first query but not from the second query. Matching records of the first and second query and other record from the first query will be displayed as a result set. Intersect operator. Intersect operator is used to return rows returned by both the queries. What is an alias command? Alternative name given to the column or expression which are present in the result table. Condition to write alias is with or without using the keyword as we can write the alias name. If we are using multiple words as an alias name, then it has to be joined by using underscore or double quotes. What is the difference between truncate, drop, and delete statement? Truncate is used to remove all the records permanently without altering the table structure, whereas drop is used to remove all the records along with the table structure, whereas delete is used to delete a particular record. Truncate, if truncated, can't get it back. We can get back by using flashback if we use drop. If we use delete, we can get back by using rollback. What are aggregate functions? Aggregate functions are used to evaluate mathematical calculation and return single values. This can be calculated from the columns in a table. How can you create an empty table for an existing table? Here is an example. Select star into student copy from student where 1 equal to 2. Here we are copying student table to another table with same structure with no rows copied. How to select unique records from a table? Select unique record from a table by using distinct keyword. Select distinct student ID, student name from student table. What is the command used to fetch first 5 character of a string? There are many ways to fetch first 5 character of a string. One such way is select substring student name 1, 5 as student name from student. Which operator is used in query for pattern matching? Like operator is used for pattern matching and it can be used as percentage matches 0 or more character underscore matching exactly one character. What are DML statement? Data manipulation language. Data manipulation language commands are used to modify the database. It is responsible for all form of changes in the database. The command of DML is not auto-committed. That means it can't permanently save all the changes in the database. They can be rollback. Here are some commands that come under DML. They are insert, update, and delete. What is a view? A view is a virtual table which consists of a subset of data contained in a table. Views are not virtually present and it takes less space to store. View can have data of one or more table combined and it is depending on the relationship. What is an index? An index is performance tuning method of allowing faster retrieval of records from the table. An index creates an entry for each value and it will be faster to retrieve data. What are all the different types of indexes? There are three types of indexes. Unique index. This indexing does not allow the field to have duplicate values if the column is unique indexed. Unique index can be applied automatically when primary key is defined. Clustered index. This type of index reorders the physical order of the table and search based on the key values. Each table can have only one clustered index. Non-cluster index. Non-cluster index does not alter the physical order of a table and maintains logical order of table. Each table can have 999 non-clustered index. That is 999 non-clustered index. What is a stored procedure? Stored procedure is a function consists of many SQL statements to access the database system. Several SQL statements are consolidated into a stored procedure and execute them whenever and wherever required. What is a trigger? A database trigger is a code or program that automatically executes with response to some event on a table or view in a database. Mainly, trigger helps to maintain the integrity of the database. Example, when a new student is added to the student database, new records should be created in the related table like exam, score, attendance tables. What is the difference between clustered and non-clustered index? Clustered index is used for easy retrieval of data from the database by altering the way that the records are stored. Database sorts out rows by the column which is said to be clustered index. A non-clustered index does not alter the way it was stored but creates a complete separate object within the table. It points back to the original table rows after searching. Advantage and disadvantage of stored procedure. Stored procedure can be used as a modular programming, means create once, store and call for several times whenever required. This support faster execution instead of executing multiple queries. This reduces network traffic and provides better security to the data. Disadvantage is that it can be executed only in the database and utilizes more memory in the database server. What is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is the primary language to interact with database. With the help of SQL, we can extract data from a database, modify this data, and also update it whenever there is a requirement. This query language is evergreen and is widely used across industries. For example, if a company has record of all the details of their employee in the database, with the help of SQL, all of this data can be queried to find out valuable insight in short span of time. How to create a table? So create table name, column 1, data type. Here is an example also. Create table employee, name varchar 25, age int, gender varchar 25. How to delete a table in SQL? There are two ways to delete a table. Drop table name, truncate table name. How to change a table name in SQL? Alter table employee, rename to employee information. How to delete a row in SQL? Delete from employee where age equal to 25. How to create database in SQL? Create database name. What is SQL Server? For that, we first know what is DBMS. DBMS is a software which is used to maintain and manage the database. There are four types of DBMS: network, object-oriented, RDBMS, and hierarchy. SQL Server comes under the category of Relational Database Management System. RDBMS is a type of DBMS software in which we can store the data in the form of relations or tables. How to insert date in SQL? If the RDBMS is MySQL, then use the following command: insert into table name, column date, values, date, manual date, and the date. How do I views table in SQL? You just have to write show tables. What is PL/SQL? PL/SQL stands for Procedural Language Construct for Structured Query Language. PL/SQL was introduced by Oracle to overcome the limitation of the plain SQL. PL/SQL adds procedural approach to plain vanilla SQL. With the help of SQL, we can do DDL and DML query. With the help of PL/SQL, we can create functions, triggers, and other procedural constructs. What is MySQL? For that, again, we have to know the DBMS concept. DBMS is a software which is used to maintain and manage the database. There are four types of DBMS: network, object-oriented, RDBMS, and hierarchy. MySQL comes under the category of Relational Database Management System, that is RDBMS. RDBMS is a type of DBMS software in which we can store the data in the form of table or relations. How can I see all tables in SQL? In MySQL, you have to just to write select table name from user tables. In SQL Server, you can write select star from information schema dot tables. What is ETL in SQL? ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. It is a three-step process. First, extracting data from the source, collect the data. Raw data is then transformed to tidy form. Then it is again loaded into tools to perform insights. How to install SQL? SQL can't be installed. To implement SQL query, you would need RDBMS like Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, etc. What is update command in SQL? Update comes under DML part of SQL. Update employees set last name equal to Sahu, where employees ID equal to 101. How to rename column name in SQL Server? When it comes to SQL Server, it is not possible to rename the column with the help of alter table commands. We would have to use sp underscore rename. What are types of SQL queries? There are four types of SQL queries: DDL, DML, DCL, and TCL. DDL, data definition language. It is used for creation of objects. DML, data manipulation language. It is used for manipulation of data. DCL, data control language. Assignment and removal of permissions. And finally, TCL, transaction control language. Saving and restoring changes to a database. Write a query to display the number of employees working in each region. So select region, count, gender from employee, group by region. What are nested triggers? Triggers may implement DML by using insert, update, and delete statements. These triggers that contain DML and find other triggers for data modification are called nested triggers. Write SQL query to fetch employee name having a salary greater than or equal to 20,000 and less than or equal to 10,000. So here is the query. What will be the output of following? Select EMP name from employee order by to ascending order. So here order by 2 is a valid when there are at least 2 columns used in a select statement. Here the query will throw error because only one column is used in select statement. What is OLTP? OLTP stands for Online Transaction Processing and is a class of software application capable of supporting transaction-oriented programs. An essential attribute of an OLTP system is its ability to maintain concurrency. What is OLAP? OLAP stands for Online Analytical Processing and is a class of software program which are characterized by relatively low frequency of online transactions. Queries are often too complex and involve a bunch of aggregation. Find the constraint information from the table. So there are two methods. You can use select star from user underscore constraints, or you can use select star from user underscore cons underscore columns. Can you get the list of employees with same salary? So here is the example query. What is the output of select average bracket null? So here it will show error as operand data type null is invalid for average operator. What is Cartesian product of a table? The output of cross join is also called as Cartesian product. What is a schema in SQL? Schema is a blueprint for the database. It gives insight how different objects interact with each other. Our database comprises of different entities such as tables, stored procedures, functions. How all entities interact, we will need the help of a schema. Schema is a logical relation between all entities which are present in a database. What is where clause? Where clause is used to extract elements from the table on basis of a condition. How to delete a column in SQL? We can delete a column by using drop. Alter table employees drop column age. How to implement multiple condition using where clause? We can implement multiple condition using and or operator. Select start from employees where first name is Akash and salary less than equal to 1000. Sorry, 10,000. What is SQL injection? SQL injection is a hacking technique which is widely used by black hat hackers to steal data from your table or databases. Let's say if you go to a website and give in your user information and password, the hacker would add some malicious code over there such that he can get the user information and password directly from the database. How to insert multiple rows in SQL? Here is the command: insert into table name, column 1, column 2, values. So you can see the example. How to find the net highest salary in SQL? So here is the query to find the net highest salary in SQL. How to copy table in SQL? We can use select into, copy all column into new table, select star into new table from old table where conditions. If we want to copy only some specific column, then we have to write select column 1, column 3, column 5 into new table from old table where condition. How to add a new column in SQL? Alter table employees, add column contact int, the length of that phone number or contact number, that is 10. If we drop a table, does it also drop related objects like constraints, indexes, column, default, views, and store procedure? Answer is yes. It drops all related objects which exist inside the table like constraint, index, column, default, etc. But dropping a table will not drop views and store procedure as they exist outside the table. Can we disable a trigger? Yes, we can disable a trigger. Disable trigger name on, or disable trigger all on all server. What is live lock? A live lock is one where a request for an exclusive lock is repeatedly denied because a series of overlapping shared locks keeps interfering. A leave lock also occurs when read transaction create a table or page. How to fetch alternative records from a table. Records can be fetched for both odd and even row number. So here is an example. Define commit and give example. When a commit is used in a transaction, all changes made in the transaction are written into the database permanently. So here is an example. Above example deletes a job candidate. Can you join table by itself? Yes, we can do that by using self join. Explain Equi-Join with example. When two or more table has been joined using equal to operator, then this is the category. This category is called Equi-Join. Select, here is the example of Equi-Join. How do we avoid getting duplicate entries in a query? So for that you have to use distinct. So select distinct country from customers. Explain non-equi-join with example. When two or more tables are joining without equal to condition, then that join is known as non-equi-join. So here we are joining two tables by non-equal to symbol. So you can see the condition where condition a dot department underscore id is not equal to b dot department underscore id. So these two tables are joined by non-equal to symbol. So it's this type of join is called non-equi-join. How can you delete duplicate records in a table with no primary key? This can be done by using set row count command. It limits the number of records affected by a command. Let's take an example. If you have two duplicate rows, you would set row count 1, execute delete command and then set row count 0. Difference between Nvl and Nvl2 functions. Both Nvl and Nvl2 function check the value of expression 1 to see if it is null or not. So Nvl expression 1, expression 2. If expression 1 is not null, then the value of expression 1 is returned. Otherwise, the value of expression 2 is returned. But case 2, the same data types as that of expression 1. Nvl2, expression 1, expression 2, expression 3. If expression 1 is not null, then expression 2 is returned. Otherwise, the value of expression 3 is returned. Where is my ISAM table is stored. Each my ISAM table is stored on disk in three files. The .frm stores table definition. The data file has .myd, my data extension. The index file has .myi, my index extension. What does my ISAM check do? It compresses the my ISAM table, which reduces their disk or memory usage. What is ISAM? ISAM is an abbreviation as is abbreviated as Indexed Sequential Access Method. It was developed by IBM to store and retrieve data on secondary storage system like tapes. What is database white box testing? White box testing includes database consistency and ACID properties, database triggers and logical views, decision coverage, condition coverage, and system statement coverage, database tables, data model, and database schema referential integrity rules. What are the different types of SQL Sandbox? There are three different types of SQL Sandbox. Safe Access Sandbox. Here, a user can perform SQL operations such as creating stored procedure, triggers, etc., but cannot have access to the memory as well as cannot create files. External Access Sandbox. Users can access file without having the right to manipulate the memory allocation. Unsafe Access Sandbox. This contains untrusted codes where a user can have access to memory. What is data black box testing? The testing involves data mapping, data stored and retrieved, use of black box texting and testing technique such as equivalence partitioning and boundary value analysis or BVA. What is cursor and how to use? A database cursor is a control that allow you to navigate around the tables, rows or document. What do you know about stuff function? Here is the format of stuff function. Stuff string 1, position, length and string 2. What is ACID properties in a database? ACID stands for the A stands for atomicity, C stands for consistency, and I stands for isolation, and D stands for durability. To check the reliability of the transaction, ACID properties are used. This question is widely asked in the interviews. What are entities and relationships? Entities. Entity can be a person, place, thing, or any identifiable object for which data can be stored in a database. Relationship. Relationship between entities can be referred to as the connection between two tables or entities. What do you mean by collation? Collation is defined as a set of rules that determines how data can be stored as well as compared. Character data is sorted using the rules that define the correct character sequence along with options for specifying case sensitivity character width. How can you fetch first 5 character of a string? Select substring student name 1, 5 as student name from student. What is denormalization? Denormalization is the inverse process of normalization, where the normalized schema is converted into a schema which has redundant information. The reason for performing denormalization is the overheads produced in the query process by an over-normalized structure.